everyone, Liz here. I'm back. This is session 3 of my explanation of the preview of my quantum rewiring training. And I want to continue with the script. Remember, last time we ended working with the subconscious mind, giving it a metaphor to give it kind of dream symbology or symbols or metaphors for how to heal the mind, how to heal the main personality and the parts. And so now we begin to direct the subconscious mind. So we'd say something like subconscious mind, identify all roots, threads, and tendrils connected to these issues. I just like the idea of plant metaphor. It's nice because everything, all the tendrils, and there's all these root systems that are connected to each other. And they also look like the nervous system, right? Neural structures, memories, emotions, triggers, or beliefs around finances, health, career, love, or other areas. If safe, treat them across all timelines, from conception, before birth, or as far back as necessary, up the family line if needed. Do a massive change history and everything, dissolving these patterns gently. Now, remember, even a baby in the womb after conception, let's say mommy and daddy are arguing about money, or if there's physical violence, this is trauma that gets onto the fetus takes on. And so this can be healed as well. Also, remember that you are actually having concurrent multiple conversations with the conscious mind, the subconscious mind, and the personality parts. So it might be like, hey, Susie, how you doing? You're talking to Susie's conscious mind. You might be talking to the subconscious mind like we're doing right now, and you might be talking to the personality parts. And intuitively, as you go through the session, you'll be intuitively led to now, oh, I need to talk to the parts now. Or you might go back and check in with the subconscious mind. So it's not etched in stone. We do recommend that if you take the training, that you do the process, learn it first, and then change it as you see fit. The other thing I want to say about this slide is that I have in bold, do a massive change history and everything. Now, that's direct verbiage from Dr. Gary Flint's work. And there's a lot of power and energy. This phrase has been used quite a bit. And remember, I talked about egregores, I talked about thought forms. So you're actually downloading the wisdom from these people. Flint has now left us and invited us to continue his work. But you're working with all healers, living or dead, and you're getting the wisdom and downloads. So often I like to keep the verbiage the same. And then I continue with the subconscious mind. I might say, subconscious mind, treat the chakra system, the nadis, the meridians, the auric field, and all the energy and body systems tied to this issue. Include ego states, memories 1, 2, and 3, shadow memories, tandem memories, all DNA, all epigenetics, family patterns, generational history, all timelines and dimensions of consciousness across the multiverse. In other words, anything and everything having to do with these issues. Repeat the process gently until complete, in the perfect and most correct order. Remember, my script is much more involved in this. So I'm not going to go into the definitions of all these things, but Gary Flint came up with this terminology because he found that helping out with these words, memories 1, 2, and 3, he defined it. Memories 1 come from all the memories from conception, for example. These all mean something that you learn in training, but this is all stuff that's important. And depending on whether we have parallel lives or past lives or bits of our soul and other parts of the multiverse, it's just good to address all of it. Now, let me go back. I went too far. So the script, now I put this here because you can also remind the client of working with personality parts before you put them in the alpha state, or you can do it now. But I want to just bring it up again. It's because it bears repeating. We call parts, sometimes we call them personality parts. Sometimes we call them dissociative parts. We call them aspects. We call them inner children. We can call them the shadow. The shadow is a tricky term because many people associate it with something negative, which it's not. It's just part of you might not know about or may not want to work with or know about. So I might say something to the client like, personality parts are sacred aspects of you, often employed or formed to protect you during painful moments. They hold memories, emotions, or behaviors tied to your issues or your challenges. They run the show when you are triggered. Remember, they take over so the main personality doesn't get the same education, right? We'll invite them to heal and rejoin your main personality, sharing their wisdom with more satisfaction and less pain. Dr. Gary Flint likes to say, We engage the dissociative parts respectfully. Absolutely. You'll notice that the language here, it's neutral and kind. There's no shoulds and ought tos. There's no scolding. Again, many clients confuse this and think that the parts are bad and need to be scolded into behaving. And that's just not how they work. They work super well if we're kind and respectful. So here's how I talk to them. I say, hello, parts. Thank you for taking care of, say, Susie until now. We are so glad you're here. We see you as sacred and spiritual beings. We're doing things differently now, and we invite you into a treatment room where you can watch the treatment. We will invite you to rejoin the main personality. Did you know actually that Susie is actually 50 years old now, not a child? There's no need to be afraid you'll have less satisfaction or more pain, or will create more pain for the personality. So this is where I muscle test to find out how many parts are showing up. Now, I did mention before that the parts often sort of stop. They're at the age where the trauma happened. So if you had a trauma, painful memory or event at age 12 or age 3, age 2, or 3 months in the womb, that's the age of that child. And often they think that the client or you are the same age as that. So it's really good to let them know. And I have to keep track of the parts because they move around. So I actually keep a notation, like if 7 parts show up, I muscle test. Oh yes, it's 7. It's not more than 7. It's not less than 7. And I write down the number 7 because I will forget. And then after I do that, I'll actually invite them to join the main personality. Let's see what we have here. Yeah, so let me talk about the parts for a little bit. Like I said, they're often the same age as when the trauma happened, and they think that you're that same age too. So it's good to let them know that Susie is older than that, right? Um, and we find that the parts have distinctive personalities, and so one might be like a snarky 12-year-old. Let's say the client's a woman, a snarky 12-year-old girl, an open and sweet 5-year-old girl, and they have different personalities. So instead of playing 20 questions with your muscle testing 80 million times, we offer a bit of information to the parts so we can talk to them. So here's what I do. I invite them into a treatment room, and I put them. What I do is I'm usually over Zoom because my clients are in Japan or something like that. And I invite them and intend to put them in a treatment room on my side of the computer, about 1 or 2 feet from me at about 11 o'clock. It's just what I do. And they're in a ball. And remember, when you're doing energy work, something's really happening. It's not just a daydream. Something is really happening. This is why it's really good to think nice thoughts about people, by the way, because at some level their subconscious is hearing you. Kind of scary to think about. So just forgive yourself and be better. Me too. Anyway, so I say a battery of things to them, and this is just a sampling. I have about 20 things. So I say things like, if you're worried your voice won't be heard, that's not true. The main personality values your wisdom. If you're concerned you will have less satisfaction and more pain, that is not true. If you think you'll die if you rejoin the main personality, that's not true. If you think the main personality will die if you rejoin, that is not true. Waking up parts will be cared for too. A lot of times they're more shy parts. There may be the more like wee baby parts that are younger, and they kind of get protected by other parts. There's like little cliques and bullies. Uh, Richard Schwartz talks about this and gets into that a lot in his book, No Bad Parts. So sometimes they come to the party a little bit later. All right. And I'll say something like, you can gain wisdom from the main personality and work together. Like I said, I have a whole list of things, but instead of doing this with each individual part, I just have them in the treatment room in my mind's eye to my left at around 11 o'clock, and I talk to them. What this also does is it dissociates them a little bit from my client so that they're not as triggered. They're happy to be worked with. And actually, I'm going to tell you, they're quite tickled and honored that someone's talking to them and they're being noticed and loved on. And it's not usually the case. So then I might go back and I got the parts in the treatment room and I invite them to, again, the scripting is much more involved in this. I invite them to watch the treatment. I invite them to watch the subconscious mind work and the superconscious mind work and say, hey, these things I've told you, check the veracity, the truth of what I'm telling you, watch the treatment and feel free to rejoin anytime. And then I might go back to the subconscious mind and I'll say, subconscious mind, connect with the heart field, skin field receptors, brain stem and pineal gland, and all glandular systems to support this process. Please ensure proper brain polarity. Treat any additional systems, physical, energetic, spiritual, mind, body, soul stuff that may need attention. So We find that this helps when trauma becomes painful to the body. So we want to work on the skin receptors, heart field, and things like that. Just seems to really help. And then, when I feel that, I might check your progress. I might say, hey, subconscious mind, how are you doing? Are you complete yet? I'll muscle test. I may also ask, hey, subconscious mind, is there anything else to treat? Sometimes the client forgets something or does not bring something up, but remember those roots and tendrils? There's so many connections of other types of trauma, and sometimes they build and pile up on each other, and memory structures are built on top of each other, and there's layers and layers, like the layers of the onion I talked about. So it's great to kind of begin to gently untap and do that massive change history and everything as needed. So I will ask if it's safe to do so, treat anything else that you can treat, do a massive change history and everything as needed. And then I might go back to the parts and say, hey, anybody else want to join? And I find that when I first work with a client, usually as soon as I put them into alpha, do the metaphor for the mind, and then I begin to talk to the parts, a couple always jump in. It's like I said, they're so tickled to be talked to kindly. They're like, woo, let's go back in. I often use the metaphor of a cruise ship and they're coming to this, the state of what's the word? I forget the word, but the state of the line. I forget how do you say it? A big, gigantic, fancy cruise ship. I'll just say that. And I'll say, hey, your staterooms are ready. And you can even have joining rooms if you want, to go as pairs or small cliques or groups. And so come join the stateroom and join the main personality. And they're ready to party with you on the Lido deck, right? So what I do next is you've got the subconscious blown wide open, right? The governor is off. You got it right there. So instead of having to push affirmations and doing affirmational or manifesting work through the conscious mind and having that filter, which is often stubborn, let's dissolve some negative beliefs. Okay. So I do something like subconscious mind, identify and dissolve negative or limiting beliefs tied to these issues. And I might say the subconscious mind can say it. I might say it on behalf of the client. Cancel to all negative or limiting beliefs. And the client can continue to do this. I have a whole thing I teach on the elimination list. Everything negative you say about yourself, you turn it around all day long. We call it a mental diet. So we begin to dissolve negative and limiting beliefs, right? So then what do? We offer really beneficial and wonderful, beautiful, gorgeous affirmations. Gorgeousness and gorgeosity, baby. Subconscious mind, create empowering affirmations that resonate with Susie. Strengthen them until they feel true. You can also improve on any. I mean, I just threw some samples up here, but I have a whole chapter in my book. You can get up all into your Louise Hay or all over the internet. Lots and lots of affirmation. You can come to session with a list, or you can rattle them off. So I might say something like, I intend this for you today, right now. I am worthy of love and abundance. I embrace my power. I'm aligned with my highest purpose. I trust myself to create a fulfilling life. Every day in every way, I'm getting better, better, and better. Now, Gary Flint didn't do this. I added this work. And, again, I've taken the best of the best, I'm telling you. So why not help them with these affirmations? And folks, I'm going to give you my favorite affirmation. You should do this too. Well, you can do this too. I'm so happy and grateful for the amount of money that I made this year. Pick a number. The impact I'm having and the freedom I'm living. Use it. It's a great affirmation. So then I might do another check-in. I might say, hey, Susie, think about your issue now on a scale of 1 to 10. How intense is it now? Right? Now, they're often going to feel better. Of course, they're going to feel better. They're in a meditative state. You're taking care of them. They're getting loved on. They're getting some healing. So they're going to feel better. And often they leave the session like, wow, it worked. I feel better. But really, the money is in a week later, how they're doing. Is their issue better? Right? But it's really good that they feel better. So as I say, throughout this process, as you feel led, check in with the parts in the treatment room. Like, have any joined? You can continue to ask them to join. Do they want more support? Invite them to join. I use muscle testing to determine when some are rejoining the main personality. And I also listen to them and I see if they're giving me any messages. Again, you need to trust what you get. It's important to develop your spidey sense so you can hear. I have this picture here because when I see the parts in my mind's eye, they look like pastel fuzzy balls. So this is the best I could find. So you can do all of that. And I talk to them and then later on I do a guided visualization with the client and I let the client talk to them too. Really good stuff. So then if I feel led, I will bring them onto a guided visualization or journey. My friend Renee came up with a great one, which is take the person up to a hill and have them look over at a city or a pueblo or a village. And that's a metaphor for the mind. And you go there with the parts and you talk to the parts I'm going to talk about that in a minute. And you have them clear up the city or the village. And then again, it represents the whole personality, all the three minds. So I say, hey, go down to the main street. Well, I'm getting ahead of myself, but we take them on a journey while they're in alpha. And I'm going to talk about the city in a second. I'm just so excited. But you can guide them through a meadow, a forest, a beach, or over water. You can even offer them a fire ceremony. I'll talk about that in a second. You can take them to a village or city that represents their personality. So if I'm doing the village thing that Renee likes to do, I will say, hey, go down to the main street of this city and just see what you see. And again, the subconscious mind will offer you visual pictures. I say, hey, if you see graffiti on the side of the wall, clean it up. If one of the buses has a flat tire, fix it. If the women's shelter is closed due to lack of funding or volunteers, make sure it's open and running and people are getting helped, et cetera, et cetera. If you want to put in a college over here, an airport over there, you want to put a rodeo thing over here, go for it. And I often will take people on a little boat ride to an island, and I have them walk along the beach, and they come upon a ceremonial fire, and I do a little process with them to throw their limiting beliefs and painful emotions into the fire and dissolve it. I do real fire ceremony, but this is in their mind's eye, and that works too. All right, and so I find by the end of this journey, the parts are so satisfied that they always rejoin. Thank you, Renee. So here's what I do when I do this guided journey with the client. I want to get three things accomplished. The first thing I do is I say, hey, Susie, when you're talking to the parts, those who have joined the main personality and those who have not, I want you to do these three things. Number one, I want you to thank them for helping you up till now. Again, neutral, kind language. I want to thank you for helping me up till now. I see you as sacred and spiritual beings. We're doing things differently now. All right. Number one, just give them respect. They love it because they haven't even been seen or noticed up till now. Many people in their entire lives will never talk to their parts. Then the second thing is I invite the client to ask them 1 to 3 things, say that they can do, the client can do to keep the parts with them reintegrated. Right. And it's often like sometimes, and I hear messages too, and I'll share with the client at the end of the session. They'll say, have more fun, live your passions, take care of yourself, get more rest, get toxic people out of your life or whatever. So it's often those kind of requirements. And then the third thing I ask them to do is to ask the parts what they can do for the main personality. What can you do for me? And often those messages are like, I can help you not go down that dark alley. My life is lived this way. My personality is always letting me know, like, don't drive to Alabama today. Just don't. It's not time. Call this person right now. Go to Walmart to get your half and half today instead of the food line or whatever. Just stay at home today and do this thing. And now go out with people and party till you can't drive anymore. So whatever. But it's just really good stuff. And I find by the end of this, they all have really, truly integrated. And then I often invite the client to say, hey, just invite them all to join you. Now, I have muscle tested along the way. I might share what the parts have told me intuitively. And if they want to jot down or have recorded during the session what they're hearing, that's great. And heck, you're taking them on a guided journey. You can have them go get power animals. You can have them go get power objects if you wish. Again, this is your session and your guide. And as you follow these directions, it's really good. So by the way, if these 3 sessions are enough for you to just go do this work, by all means, have it and do it. And if you want to take the training, let us know. And let me know in the comments, or I'll throw my email up. But I want to thank you for joining me today. It was super fun to have you. Leave me a comment to see how it goes. And have a beautiful, gorgeous day.